Hello, my name is Tyler2022, and this will be my GDQ submission for Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. And this will be played on the European Extreme difficulty, and this is on the PAL version. This is the first version to actually have European Extreme, due to them getting the game a little bit later. And with that, there are a lot of special glitches and bugs that we'll be able to exploit in this version specifically. So, my current estimate for the run is 1 hour and 35 minutes. Timing will stop on the last hit of the Solid's boss fight. And I'll be doing this on New Game Plus. Tanker through plants, European Extreme, no radar, and not game over. And timing will start once I select this in 3, 2, 1. So we're gonna start off the game on the tanker section, playing as Snake. I'll only be here for about 9 to 10 minutes though, won't be here for too long. And after that we go to the real main character, Raiden, for the rest of the run. As with many Metal Gear games, a lot of cutscene and codecs, so I have to skip all those, obviously.
Alright, let's...
And the main objective here is to take photos of the new Metal Gear being made by the Marines. But in order to do that, we have to access a certain weapon because there are these terrorists that have actually taken over the ship. And we need to go in and beat the first boss of the game in order to actually try to get that weapon and then use that to actually progress further down into the tankers. So, let's go right here. And one thing that is noticeable from the first game is that you now have a non-lethal weapon, the M9 trank gun. I did miss there, unfortunately, so I have to trank him and then roll into him, and as you can see, he will be falling asleep. And I did take some damage here, but this will not matter in the long run, because the first boss kills me in one shot. Little cutscenes here showing the new guard patterns that they have going on. They have 2 tranks, and then they just fall asleep. Able to progress through these rooms rather quickly. Later on, it's going to be a bit more complex, but for these first couple of rooms, it's going to be fairly simple. Showing that now there's shadows to worry about, but we're just going to hold up that guy and run past. And it will not be a Metal Gear game without a camera, so they have to introduce one. But funny enough, on this difficulty, it's actually much easier, because you can just walk right underneath it. The other one is actually stationary, and you have to do something a little bit different. So it's a bit harder. Get another camera. Go for a distraction shot here, and we do get it. And make our way over. So now we're saying where the ship will be heading exactly, since the terrorists did take over the ship, and we're just trying to, figure out more information. And there's a mysterious figure outside, and that'll be the first boss, Olga. For this version specifically, she will always start going to the left, which is what we want. And there's a setup to actually have it to where she will just loop continuously, and then we can just keep on shooting her. But it doesn't work all the time, so let's see if I get it right here. Wait for an audio cue here. And the 4th shot, and she's down. So that's the Olga fight. You just have to listen to a certain part of the song, and then run from cover, and then you can consistently get that. Works about 80 to 85% of the time. Now that we have defeated Olga, we have her USP handgun, which is going to be useful later on. And we'll be using it pretty soon here. Make our way back, and we're going to go all the way to the depths of the tanker now. First, we have to get back inside first. Also, one thing to notice that in this game is that there's a previous selection for your weapons. That way you can go from one weapon to another rather than having them just on one weapon and going back to unequip. So that's going to help for a couple of strats later on. Right here, we're just going to be staring at the ceiling in order to kind of buffer this distraction shot. Now, as long as you don't hear the actual music for that, then that will not count, so that was not an alert. It was fairly close, though. That track does cut it pretty close. Now going through this way again, we're going to try and get a quick headshot here. And I hit the glass, unfortunately. Oh. Thought I got the radio, but there we go. That can happen sometimes, no big deal though. Here's the engine room. This is probably one of the more complex rooms in the tanker. A lot of stuff going on here, so we're just going to drop down here, try and trank this guard as fast as we can, then roll into him, knocking him out. And we want to go through this room as fast as possible, because if we do this really fast, then we actually get more health, which is a pretty nice reward, because in this game, you die from 3 shots. And it looks like we will get it, because the guy up top did not see us due to that roll. So all you need to do now is just trank him in the back once. And then do a little distraction shot. This skips a little mini cutscene. And because of the trank, he's going to fall asleep. And that's the engine room. And that is the main barrier, kind of like holding us back from just walking straight down here, is that we need the USP for this specifically. Now there's going to be 2 guards to deal with here. They're going to be fairly easy though. This one I'm just going to trank twice. And he's out. Do a little punch buffer to make sure I don't bump into him. This guy right here is going to be sleeping, but won't be too much of a worry, as you can see. I would be grabbing a spare ammo pack here, just the fact of I did miss a lot of shots, and this is just for marathon safety, just in general. So having full health for this fight is really ideal, because we will be tanking 1 shot in the very beginning of the fight anyway, so the more health that we have, the merrier. So this fight is going to be 8 guards and then a wave of 3, so 11 altogether. So 3. These guys take a little while to come out. 4. 5. Missed. 6. 7. Ooh, nice shot. Okay, so now there's just that last wave of 3. I'm gonna trank 1 right now. Then let these other guys run up. Kind of line up, because they will stop. That is the guard rush fight. Now, you notice that before I actually switch to the camera, that's going to be very important for a glitch coming up here, ladder glitch. This kind of makes it really fast just going through this little section here, because going on the ladder, there's an animation and dropping down from it, etc. But with this glitch, we can easily just kind of float down to the bottom. So we're doing a little punch buffer here to get onto the ladder.
We initiated development of Metal Gear Ray as a countermeasure to these pirated weapons.
Through a series of inputs, I'll just kind of drop down.
Metal Gear is, of course, another Metal Gear. With Ray, the 100...
Also notice that the frame rate does drop here a little bit. That's just the PS2 trying to do the best that it can to like have all of these rendered soldiers in the same room, so you will see some frame drop.
Freeze. So do a number of rogue states.
Freeze.
They are all working on deploying
Just quick 3 holdups. And then gonna be putting on the camera during this little trigger here, so that way whenever we actually get out of this little cutscene, we'll actually have the camera already equipped. Need 4 photos, front left.
Not the only military project devoted to Metal Gear development, but it
Front.
cannot be more different in nature from the Navy's. Theirs is a program.
The Marines lettering, which does not look like it at all, but the hitbox for it is very ambiguous. And then the top right, or front right, excuse me. That is the tanker section. That is the end of Solid Snake. We won't be seeing him for quite a while, but we won't be playing as him for the rest of the game. As you can see, all these will be correct. Even that Marines lettering one, even though it does not look like it, that should count, that actually does count for whatever reason. Now a lot of cutscenes coming up here. One good thing about this speedrun is that there are a couple spots just for solid donation readouts. This is probably one of the best ones here. We have to go and switch over to Raiden, and there's cutscenes and no tasks to save, so there's some time for that. But one thing noticed for Raiden is that he has a bit different movements, and he's a bit faster just due to the fact because whenever you would see us playing a snake, whenever we would tap X, kind of this like somersault forward. Well, with Raiden, he does a cartwheel, which is actually faster than walking. So during straightaways, we want to actually use this cartwheel or going upstairs if possible. The main objective here is to rescue the president, as he has been taken hostage at the cleanup facility of the tanker. The tanker area from 2 years ago. That's where this is set. Excuse me. And a lot of the beginning of this is just rehashing of tutorials, because you actually can play this game just in the plant section and not even play the tanker. So a lot of this is just rehashing tutorials for that. You can also go to these nodes and then mess with the settings. We won't be needing to do that, obviously. Also have some new faces here. We have Colonel from the first game, Metal Gear Solid 1, then Rose, who is Raiden's girlfriend. She's kind of like the Otacon of this one, and she's just saving data, essentially. So these two guys are about to wake up, so we're going to run away from them and go to this third guy here, who's also about to wake up, and we're going to choke him out and then knock him out once again, and then kind of dance around with the guards and get out of here. So yeah, they're gonna see us here. Just gonna go run and hide. And on PAL, this elevator does come down slower, so we'll have to wait a little bit longer than usual. And we're gone. So for the tanker, like, that entire level design was very, like, pretty open and, you know, kind of like sandboxy. This one is kind of similar to the first game at Shadow Moses, where it's, you know, like, very boxed in and it's very linear in its design, so that will offer for a bit of a different feel just playing the game in general. As you see, the cartwheel goes down into the prone, and I can go under that little hole there. So you'll see me do that a couple of times on the run. Doing the cartwheel go straight into prone. Now once we get to Strutsea, all the kind of like cutscenes and like, you know, tutorial stuff kind of stops, because then we've actually started playing the game, because all this is just, you know, backstory / tutorial rehashing. Telling us to go to the node, but we're all good. We're just gonna go over here to the AB connecting bridge. So you have each of the struts. You have A through F, and then there's just connecting bridges for like each of them is, and they're gonna be trying to have us go into hanging mode, but it's a bit slow for us, so we're gonna just cartwheel and just avoid the noisy tiles here. And you do hear the music start, which means that he has noticed me, but I'll be out by the time that he tries to call in the alert. This is a straight callback to the MGS1 hallway before the ninja fights with all the blood on the wall. You can't see it right there, but you'll be able to see it whenever we travel back through here again. Then we are meeting Iroquois Pliskin, totally not Solid Snake. He's going to be giving us a SOCOM pistol. So now we actually have something to use, because beforehand, you know, we had nothing. We didn't have no, like, tranquilizer gun, no nothing. We kind of just, you know, came in here just with nothing. And Rose will be asking us to save. She'll be doing that a couple times here on the run, and of course we want to say no every time. And part of this bridge gets blown up by one of the bad guys, Fortune. We'll be meeting her pretty soon. As you can see, it just got blown up right there, and it would be connecting to the Shell 1 core, which is a very important part of the actual structure. So now we're in the dining hall. Like I said, once we get to this cutscene here, the tutorials kind of stop and we're like kind of like actually playing the main game. So the main thing to do right now is that we need to actually go and defuse bombs, and there are multiple ones placed in each strut. Some of them have 1, 2, 3 of them in there, so we have to go through like each one of these and then defuse all the bombs. So that's the first big thing to do here, and this is like where the, you know, like where the planning section actually starts. And New Game Plus allows me to skip this little cutscene right here, like the tutorial rehashing, so it's probably the biggest benefit of playing on New Game Plus. So we got the coolant spray and sensor A. It's helpful in order to showing us where the bomb is. It won't show us the like exact area, but it'll give us a rough idea. Again, just like the tanker section. A little distraction shot here. And call on the radio because he can't see us, then this is gonna let us pass by. These little cipher cameras are annoying to deal with, but luckily you can just shoot it 3 times and it'll just go right down. So we're going to be going counterclockwise here, starting in strut B. And since we left, they actually installed cameras in that little hallway section, so we can't really go there, and that's what that little mini cutscene was for to show. And for most of these bombs, we have to call back to Peter Stillman to actually, like, you know, let him know, hey, we defused it, and we found it here. You guys can see all the blood on the wall. AB connecting bridge. He's gonna see us. He will fall down, but he will not count as a kill because we can't actually see him, so the game does not actually count it as a kill, so we're still on 0 kills. Right, back to the pump room. Now, this one has 2 of them, one on the roof, and then one in the pump room, which is a bit more intricate. There is one guard up here, though, so we do have to try to hold him up and then roll into him. Because, again, we only have one gun right now, just a lethal gun, so...
Freeze.
We do make it out. Now onto the pump room. Do one single roll down the stairs. If we do any more, then that guy will actually see us. I was trying to hold him up, but I was slightly too far away. And then I missed the groin punch, so I had to spray him, so that was a little bit unfortunate. And also, one thing with the coolant is that because we can go into first-person view, we get this little coolant rise glitch where we can actually cancel the animation of Raiden actually, like, slowly rising up. So this is the preferred method. If we go from prone to standing, we want to do it like this, if possible. Then change the chaff grenade here for the bridge. And as you will soon see, chaff grenade in this game is really good. We're just going to use it here for this bridge just because this is the easiest way to go about it. It's going to be one cipher and then one guard, but you won't be able to see us. But this room right here is a fair showcase that the chaff grenade is just really absurdly broken. And we will be taking damage here, but that's okay. As you can see, they all start going crazy. They don't know what's going on. Then get this bomb right here in between these boxes. And we go straight into a caution, which helps us with a little mini cutscene right here. Makes this bridge a little bit faster. And one of the benefits of PAL is that the cipher speeds are insanely slow. You'll see that here, that I can just run straight across here, essentially, and beforehand, if I was playing this on, like, the HD collection or, like, the NTSC versions, you would not be able to do this strat at all. It would not be possible. And they're just so slow that... See, now they just now turned, so... That's one of the major benefits of PAL, is that those like, little, like, sections there make it a lot easier due to the frame rate drop. To deal with some guards here. Luckily, just one trank to the head does it. Oh. Actually, shot the lights on the ceiling there. And these guys will all wake up whenever I actually come back down here, and just gonna grab the box here. That'll be useful later. And we'll be, you know, wanting to check up on them since it's been a while. We have just enough time to actually get out of there. A little mini cutscene here with we're actually going to be seeing someone from the tanker chapter. We're going to be seeing Olga. She's here for some reason. It'll be important to the story later on. And a precursor to the fight coming up with the Harrier. There's a bomb underneath it. Bumped into that by accident, but it's okay. Change to the box here. We're going to be needing that later, like I said. Very important tool in the game. I'm actually using it for this next room here, and Rose will be calling us and asking us to save again. But of course, we want to say no. Or sorry, no. She's just calling us. She doesn't have to save until after another point. My bad. I'm going to trank him. Hold this guy up. Whenever they see us go to the box, they actually start running back, which is very helpful for some of the strats coming up. The box is very useful in that regard. There's one guard here to deal with. Now this is probably the most intricate and most difficult strat here, so just give me a moment. Okay, so ideally I would only be taking out that very first guard with only one shot, but because I had to take two, I had to change it up a little bit. But yeah, you ideally want to get to the guy on the bottom before he actually starts talking. You see there are 3 bombs in this one. It's the second to last bomb, so they always have this particular dialogue go off. Backup will be coming, but by the time that they get here, we'll be long gone. Right here, another camera to deal with, so we can just easily just scoot on by. Gonna trank him just for safety reasons. Now back in Strat C, where we began. We're gonna be grabbing sensor B here, which is what we need to actually find the last bomb, although we know where it's at, but as far as like the story's sake, if you're trying to find it for the first time, you actually use that instead of sensor A, because it uses a different kind of chemical agent. Excuse me. And that's the last bomb, quote unquote. And once we walk out here, we will have a certain amount of time to get to the bottom of Strat A and then find the very last bomb, although it gives us quite a bit of time. 200 seconds. I'll see me wasting all this ammo here. That'll be for later on. Very important for the fortune fight for a cool little exploit. I come in the back and just run right behind them. And again, same guy's not having a really good day here. He's about to go back in the ocean once more.
Who is that?
Again, does not count as a kill, though. We're gonna change our inventory to the coolant and to the SOCOM. Needing this for the fortune fight. And I can take the elevator all the way back down to the docks. Unfortunately, you're gonna be getting the last coda call from Peter Stillman because Batman has planted a bomb and has brought down Peter along with it. So now we have to go and find the last bomb. Although, strangely enough, for this difficulty, it's actually in a much easier place to actually find than if you were to do it on all the other difficulties. I guess they kind of throw you a small bone here. You know, it's just right here. Otherwise, it'd be underneath the submarine, which is a bit farther away and more out of the way. Now we're heading back. More information about the story. And here is the fortune fight. So this fight is kind of like an anti-boss where we're just trying to survive as long as possible. So as you can see, if I pop out with the SOCOM out, I'll actually just have iframes and be using that to actually just stay safe during this fight. I was counting the amount of shots, and that's why I wasn't commentating. I'm just gonna keep on doing this until the cutscene happens, and we're gonna move over to the other set of boxes. Yeah, this is probably the safest way that you can actually do this fight. Otherwise, you have to go into the box, and then you'd be running around the back. And you can use this on any other section, and not just Fortune, you know, you can use this just whenever you're just playing anywhere, and if you do this little pop-out thing, then you will not take any damage. And that's the end of the fortune fight. And Fat Man has contacted us directly, and we need to get to the top of Shreddy in the next 200 seconds to defuse the last bomb, because the last bomb wasn't the last bomb. And we're doing some very interesting strats here, going on this particular route. There's going to be some claymores here. I'm just going to avoid those. I'm going to attempt to have this guard open the door for us. One more cartwheel down. And we are successful. So it does open it for us. It's a little bit faster. There's no cipher here to worry about. And to start off here, we're going to be doing a bit of a more interesting route. Alright. And again, for the EF bridge, we don't have to stop really, so... Normally, you would want to be stopping here, but... because of the PAL version, I can do this specifically. And here for the brush room, I'm going to try to do a distraction shot but I need to place it very carefully. If I do it too late, I'll be heard. If I do it too early, then he will shoot me. And we placed it just right, so no one heard it, and he did not see us, so that's good. And another benefit of the PAL version is that this fight very specifically has a particular loop to it. It has a chance to actually fail sometimes, but you'll see that it is a bit different from what you normally see of a typical Fat Man fight. So we're going to be going to the first bomb on the right-hand side first to actually defuse that. Once that's defused, I'm going to run all the way over here, wait him to shoot. I'm going to be standing right here the whole time. Right here, he could potentially run away. He doesn't. And that's the Fat Man fight. Very quickly. Just like that. Only can be done on the PAL version. It's a very good way to go about the fight. And the real final bomb now, which is right underneath Fat Man. A lot of codec sequences here, so during this time would be probably a good time for donation readouts. Because right here is not going to be too much going on, other than I'm going to be getting some more items and a new objective to actually find out where the president is, which is our real main objective here in the first place. Okay. That feels great. So what we need to do now is we actually need to disguise ourselves as the enemy, and then actually try and find Richard Ames, which is the main informant, and he actually knows where the president is being held. So we have to go and find him. And we have the disguise, but the only thing missing is that we actually need their weapon. And it just so happens that we can find that weapon at the bottom of Strut F. So we're going back towards Strut F and grabbing that. And then going to the Shell 1 core. We're using the chaff grenade at the bridge. Whoops. Trying to cartwheel through, but we'll just crawl through instead, that's fine. Very sneaky. Very, very sneaky. And wait for the Cypher to go. And I'm doing a little punch buffer here to make sure that we do not get seen. I'm going to do a full punch kick combo. Give us just enough time to actually do this. Try to shoot the wall, and we are successful, and you will just stare at the wall. Makes that area a bit faster. Now we have our complete disguise, so now we can go into the Shell 1 core and disguise ourselves. Using the box here just to make sure I don't trip any claymores. Now we're going to be wanting to actually go down to actually get the directional microphone to actually talk to him, even though he is the only guy in there with a mullet, so... Unfortunately, they couldn't tell us that during the description, so... Gonna be hitting the elevator once here. Going down into the computer room. There are a couple guards to actually deal with here, but we'll be needing to interact with them, hopefully. Being a little bit safer here, just go this long way. It's a bit slower, but like I said, safer. Gonna be getting 2 little mini cutscenes here with this guy stretching and then wanting to run. Oh. A little bit input error there. Now into where the hostages are being held here in B1. Gonna be knocking here really quickly to make this guy come over here. A little punch buffer to make sure we can be out in the front. And we can immediately just choke him onto the sensor itself, because, you know, we can't go in there because we're not, you know, one of them, obviously, so we need to use one of the guards. Although, he is just kind of laying there, and you think that he'd, you know, notify him, but I guess the story assumes that he's knocked out or something, I don't know. Now, where this guy would be located is actually randomized, so we don't know where he is. So we have to hope that he's somewhere nearby. Looks like we got a bad one. Yep, he's far away. Yep, there he is. I accidentally hit him. I was trying to actually stay far away to where I would not hit him, but you can do this little glitch here.
Your aims, aren't you?
To where you can actually use the directional microphone, but the guards will still think that like you actually have your like AK up. So, a little interesting glitch that you don't really see very often. It's about probably the very worst aim spawn that you can possibly get. So now he is telling us that we need to go to the Shell 1-2 connecting bridge. But in order to actually get past there, we have to grab the PSG-1, which is also in StrutF. StrutF's really useful, by the way. So, once they give us about 10 seconds to actually press R2, we're going to be on our way. They're going to be tearing off our masks, so our disguise will not be useful anymore. But we will still be using the BDU, because it does have some very hidden features as far as its uses. And using the box. And going straight to the chaff grenade, we'll be needing it for this section coming up. Shooting the wall to distract this guy. I will be taking a shot, but it's not that big of a deal. The chaff is going off, so they can't call for backup. Now, the actual pattern of these floor tiles do matter, because they do stay the same. But, as you can see, it's not that big of a deal, and there's actually one more cipher to actually take care of, but because we are on the PAL version, we can actually afford to not shoot that one, and then all 3 of them will respawn, but as you saw before, we can just easily get past it. Trank him once. PSG-1's in here. We'll have to be dealing with 1 guard. Opening the door for us, thanks. Again, really easy. Just walk straight past there. Use the box to get around there. Make sure we aren't seen. we'll have enough time to actually finish this off before the caution ends, so... And that is that section. So now we're going to the Show 1-2 connecting bridge. So now with the sniper rifle and with our SOCOM, we're going to be taking out some of the sensors here, similar to the tanker section, although they're scattered about quite a bit. Be very cautious here, making sure I'm landing all these. Okay. Okay. All right. One last one. Yes, the Harrier fight. This fight is a bit complex, and essentially I'm trying to hit him as many times as I can. I know that's, like, you know, kind of a bad way of saying it, but he has a very particular way of acting, and the most important thing is that for the beginning, I want to get these 5 shots off. That's probably the most important part of it. Oops. There we go. I'm going to be hitting these little outer wings here. They do more damage if you're to hit the inner hitboxes. So he'll be coming back towards us, and then we're going to try to fire up to 3 shots after this one. Unfortunately missed. So it's going to be a bit of a slower fight because of that, but it's alright, it happens. See where he's going. He's going that way. I'm gonna line up over here, and similar to the Fortune Fire, I'm gonna be using a little pop-out glitch to not take any damage. Now for the missile spam phase. Ideally, we'd be finishing the fight right before this phase, but it's okay. It's a little bit of a time loss. And that's the Harrier fight. So that wasn't probably the best fight that I could have shown, but some stuff went wrong, and as you can see, it's still alright. Now, the ultimate leap of faith here. This is one of the scariest jumps in the game. Okay. And you see, that actually put back on the BDU, and what I had forgot to mention earlier is that if you have the BDU equipped, the guard's vision gets slightly reduced. I guess it's because you blend in with some of the scenery. So this is very key for this right here. Otherwise, this would be a lot of a slower strat if I were to try and do it. Then cartwheel onto the ladder somehow, because Raiden's just a really good acrobat. Cartwheel here. Make a little knock. We won't be needing this anymore. We're going to be spamming our weapon switch here. It's going to be making us go across this a little bit faster. The famous ping guard. And normally we'd be needing to use a chaff grenade here. But because of for the PAL version, we actually don't need to be doing that. ciphers are just really slow. And we will not be seen. Slight optimization here, going to be turning with the D mic to kind of having us face towards the stairs. Otherwise, we'd be facing north. We want to be facing west here because once we regain control, as you can see, we're going to go this direction. And coming up is probably one of the more well-known glitches of Sons of Liberty version specifically, including the PAL version, is that trying to go out of bounds in this area is very easy. It's probably like one of the easiest out of bounds in all of speedrunning. Probably not the easiest, but it's fairly easy. All you do is you actually just go lay down in front of the elevator button and then you press triangle, and that's it. Congratulations, you're now out of bounds. Now, why do we need this? First, we're gonna punch our way through these stairs, because stairs are evil. And this is much faster than actually swimming, because as you'll see later, swimming in this PS2 PAL version is kind of like swimming through molasses. So we're gonna be grabbing the Nikita here. Whoops. Camera does get a little bit weird here. Go up the stairs, go back down the stairs, and then go back up the stairs. Calling the elevator back. As you can see, we have the Nikita and the Stinger equipped. And why do we need the Stinger? That would be to actually wake up President Johnson here, because if he's not awake, then bad things happen. So we need to wake him up, and by doing this, we actually set the certain pattern of his RNG. So very ideal that we do it like this. Excuse me. As long as we don't take too much time to get over there, we should be okay. They'll run towards us, and then take out the control panel. And here we are. They'll be giving us the level 4 key card, or to actually get to the vamp room, because otherwise we could just walk straight there, but we don't have the level 4 card until we talk to him, unfortunately. So we have to talk to him first. If there was some way to like not talk to him and still get the level 4 card, that'd be a pretty decent skip. And Ocelot will kill him, actually, and that's why you'll see him laying down here. And at this point, we actually know that Pliskin is Solid Snake. And, of course, there we see Otacon.
I took these for...
Talking about the tanker incidents and all that. So now we're actually trying to find... we are trying to find Otacon's sister, Emma, who has been helping kind of make everything go here, and she's being held captive further up ahead. Oops. I'm gonna have Stinger and M9 ready. Gonna do that for the vamp fight. And the vamp fight is casually one of the hardest fights in the game. It is very tricky to deal with, but luckily in the speedrun, it's very easy to actually cheese. Two cartwheels here. We're gonna tap down and then go all the way over here. Do 2 punches and then a single punch, and then we're gonna climb up the invisible stairs, go back down, and then climb all the way back up. So for this fight, he actually kills us in one hit, so we want to be very careful here. He's one of the more dangerous bosses. Luckily, there's a semi-consistent strat in actually just taking him down as long as we just position ourselves correctly. Start the fight. Gonna be tranking him. Gonna be shooting him twice in the water, which is the same as punching him twice, which what we'll be doing is just punching him a lot. Doing that makes him come out a little bit faster. I'm in first-person view. As you can see, stay right on top of him. And if you hit him on the final kick, it'll actually fade to white faster. So there's a little visual cue on actually where to do that for. That's the vamp fight. And for safety reasons, I'll be grabbing the body armor here. The end game can be really unforgiving, so it's wise to grab the body armor in that regard. Now we've met Emma Emmerich, and she does not like to swim. She's very traumatized, like about swimming due to a childhood experience with almost drowning. And even if she wanted to swim, they put tranquilizers in to her legs, so we have to hold her hand regardless. And she just is not very capable of doing much on her own, just because she's very sluggish. As you can see here, Ryan's gonna be a good guy and just swim through here, and luckily this little area is really quick. We're going to be stopping for a small break and a bunch more codex. Maybe grabbing her hand and just walking her over here. And some cutscenes and story lore. Now, because of us skipping through like all that swimming section, all these doors will be closed, but luckily we can actually go back through them, and it doesn't, like, you know, cause a soft lock, which that's good. As you can see, underwater, in the PAL version especially, is just very slow. Grabbing the PSG-1T here, just the same as the PSG-1, just in a tranquilizer form. We'll be needing for later. Make sure she does not hit any of the bombs, that's bad. She'll be losing some health here, but as long as her health bar does not go below the letter A, we'll be okay. Excuse me. So once that happens, then she starts to complain and want to sit down, and then that'll just waste some time. And she has a fear of bugs, so we're going to help her out with that fear. Usually you'd be using the coolant spray here, but I grab her a little hug. Just drag her over here. Excuse me. Now this place is littered with guards, so we have to move around here pretty carefully. Luckily, if we take this specific line here, it's pretty consistent and we won't be seen. One more guard will show up, but It won't matter for us because we're all the way over here. Gonna go up ahead and just shrink some of these guards just to be safe. One more guard to deal with here, and we'll be done. Go back to the Kale connecting bridge, and we just need to go through one more room after this one, then we'll be done with the hand-holding section, essentially. We're in the BDU here, because as I said before, BDU causes the guards to have lower division, even right here. So it's going to be a bit of a safety net here. It's not for that guard up there, who's actually on the roof. It's for this guy right over here. It can sometimes be annoying. And as you see, because of the BDU, he'll just run away because we're farther away for him. Otherwise, he actually shoot us, and that can waste some time. But it is important to actually... Oh, and he still shot us, as you can see. But luckily we're in the cutscene. Emma has card level 5, luckily, so we can get through here. Trank these 2 guards and be on our way. And now this is going to be the sniping section. This is essentially a 7-minute auto-scroller, where we just have to actually protect Emma as she's crossing this very huge oil fence. Be claymores, ciphers, and guards to deal with. So while it's not an auto-scroller, it kind of is, where we do have some things to do, but we're just kind of waiting out the time. And she actually can fall down, and that will lose us time, but that depends on if we look at her, and it can be kind of random at times as well. Oh. As you can hear, she just did fall over, unfortunately. What about those later? Not bad. Now we wait for these guards up here. Use the next shot at Pentaz. And this studies our sniping aim a little bit. Didn't explain that before, but we use it very sparingly, but here I'll be using it a lot, obviously. Since we have infinite ammo for this specifically, and the other ammo is farther away, we're going to be using it, but this one kind of can be a troublesome one. Can get it here. Yep. Okay. So that's all the claymores done with. We don't have to worry about them anymore. Only thing left is ciphers and guards. We'll soon be climbing over there. I'd like to say thank you guys for watching the video up to this point. Do appreciate it. And one more guard. Get some ciphers coming over in this direction area. So I'm gonna be shooting them down once we do see them. We're going to actually use the Pentaz very sparingly to save up on it. You don't really need to be using it all the time, only for like the guards essentially. Double checking that there's no other ciphers in sight. There's not. And the next set of guards will be coming up here pretty soon. I'm just spamming here to kind of steady my shot initially. I'm gonna be spamming here just because I'm afraid of him seeing us. Daily used to do this like 1 or 2 shots. Oh. Now, that does not count towards the alerts, but... And he did get taken out anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. A couple more ciphers to deal with, and then 1 more guard, and then we'll be in the clear. Snake won't be showing up until, you know, right about here, which is like, you know, there's nothing more left to do, so thanks a lot, Snake. Excuse me. Now the rest of them is just dealing with ciphers. That was the last guard to deal with. I said this is an auto-scroller, so there's not too much going on, not too much I can talk about. There's one little Easter egg that I could do here, but just for the sake of just finishing the run and just being, you know, simple about it, we're just gonna go through with it. But typically, I'd like to show some Easter eggs if I'm doing a marathon run, just for the fun of it. Should be one here. I'm probably thinking about it way too early. Oh, there he is. Snake's like, hey, I'm here. Well, I'm pretty much done. Thanks for the help. See him right there. Double checking, no more claymores. There's 1 more cipher to deal with. He'll be coming up right over here. Again, not using Pentaz here, so I get the steadiest aim possible. Okay. Then I'm going to be wasting the rest of this here, because we actually want to be going towards over there, because whenever we actually start the Vamp 2 cutscene, we're going to be over here, in like this area, and we want to go and stand on top of that box, and it's better than just spending the shots here and then going, so it's a bit better that way. That's the sniping section. And then for Vamp, we're just going to shoot him in the leg about 1,000,000 times. As you right there, he's gone. Got his legs off with the trank gun. And Emma has been stabbed, and we have to go back to the Shell 1 core. She still needs to upload the virus in order to get rid of GW, which is the main Patriot AI. Oops. And we have 180 seconds to get there, but it's not that far away, so not that big of a deal. I'm doing that for safety precautions. If I mess up in bumping into him, then I will get an alert that will ruin my big boss rank, because we all try to go for big boss rank, but it's not always how it works, unfortunately. Sometimes we mess it up. And chaff grenade, and that one's pretty easy. There's a bunch of sea lice here in the Shell 1 core, kind of infesting it, so you see a bunch of sea lice kind of scattered all over the place. A lot of cutscenes here, a lot of stuff's happening. Unfortunately, Emma does end up dying here, and we are being taken in by Solid Snake and the ninja who had helped us in the Shogun Corps, which happens to be Olga. But we are just simply being used to actually get into Arsenal gear, and that's, you know, the whole plan of this thing. So we will be waking up here soon. And you see Solidus and Ocelot, which you don't hear him say a lot of words. This is probably the couple words like you'll hear him say.
Hasn't it? Jack the Ripper. You know this fellow? You remember me, don't you? You've grown.
And for right here, we don't even need to actually be pressing triangle.
High concentration of
It's telling you to, like, you know, hold your breath or whatever, 'cause you're being choked, but it's gonna conserve our energy here. Don't worry about that. Now we're talking to Olga. Telling us about all the plan and how we have to stay alive in order for her daughter to actually stay alive, so she's really relying on us here. And how she's working with Solid Snake as well. And we're being told to actually go meet up with Snake up ahead, which we'll be doing now. But first she's gonna give us a little gut punch. Ouch. That's the equivalent of one bullet shot, by the way, so don't mess with Olga. Calling Rose here. She has to save, but this is going to speed up the process. Otherwise, she would be calling you first, but this kind of speeds it up a little bit. As you can see, we have been completely stripped of all of our stuff, including our clothes, so running around here naked and, you know, trying to cover himself because he's, you know, not indecent, so. Coming out here, we're going to be starting to get some very strange coded conversations from the Colonel.
Who's there?
Just going to be very careful here in this section. Order these cameras very carefully. Make it across these jumps. Okay. Pretty much in the home clear now. And unfortunately I did get seen. Did not run. I didn't roll into him, so that's a bit unfortunate and a silly way to lose Big Boss, but we didn't take any damage, which is the most important part. But that happens. I was just trying to be very careful and I rounded out too much. Didn't roll into him, so no big deal. Like I said, the important part is that we did not take damage. That is the biggest thing. A lot of coda calls here, but as long as we stay at the north end of the tube, we'll be okay. Because otherwise, these coda calls will seemingly go on forever. Now the last coda call. You slash the sword at least once. You switch in the body armor here. And this is just having us try to practice with the sword. This is a gift from Olga. We'll be using this later on, but just having us practice with it right now. And these next two rooms coming up, there's going to be two major skips. For the Tengu 1 room, we're going to be running to the back room as fast as possible and then doing a punch kick in order. And by doing that, we'll be going to the load zone for the next room. Only issue is that it is very tricky, and there's a lot of Tengus to deal with, which is the, like, souped-up guards in the Arsenal Gear section. And for the PAL version, you can do this all with 2 suns. On the other versions, you have to use at least 3, so that's one of the other benefits as well. High potential, I could die here, but we'll see what happens. 2 more cartwheels. Gonna cook it once we get halfway in between this little container here. Throw it once more. I will get shot once. And we do successfully make it through Tengu 1 unscathed. We did take 1 shot, but not that big of a deal. And then I'm using the trank gun here to take out Snake, and then run away here to the back. Using the coolant spray, and I just need to do this the entire time. And if I'm successful, then the fight will be skipped. And the game is just confused why there's so many Tengus from the very first wave in here, and it'll just stop the fight. And you can do this all for the newer versions, but it's essentially impossible. It's like only multi-segment worth. But for the Sons of Liberty versions, this is one of the biggest skips, and you can do this on all difficulties. And there's a similar skip to do on the HD collection and the Substance versions, but it's a bit different, and you can only do it on the higher up difficulties because of the Tengu health. It's a very similar thing, except for you'd be choking 1 Tengu in the corner instead of doing all of this, so. Yeah, I'm just gonna be doing this the whole time. Oh, and we're done. That's the Tengu 2 fight. Those are the 2 major skips at the very end of the game.
It came as a complete surprise when Ocelot discovered the
Now we're gonna have
not a bad idea, though.
Solidus talk a bunch about, you know, just pretty much like monologuing. And we just need to have 20 stinger shots. Now, this fight is very difficult. Recently, there has been a loop found where we can actually loop through the fight and have it be pretty consistent. But it can get out of hand, and if it does, then I'll have to kind of improvise and kind of go off of whatever's happening. I will try to commentate through it, but last time that I did this for a AGDQ submission, I actually died like pretty early on just because I was talking about it, so yeah. During the section, someone else would definitely be commentating for me, and I'm just gonna be keeping quiet. But I will try to commentate the best that I can here.
Solid Snake's sudden appearance, your arrival. It was obvious the Patriots were among
Yeah, this run's going a lot better than expected. I only have 1 extra alert, no extra continues, so everything else has been going fairly decent. Nothing too out of hand. So this is closer to the best end scenario up to this point. But this is one section where I can die, and it can be a big time loss. I have to take out 20 of these rays, so. And after that, there's going to be a 55-second torture sequence. So that'll be fun. Starting on the fight, it's going to be doing the typical pattern here. Going around in the 3 circles here, or going around in a circle with the 3 rays here. And at a certain point, that'll start to break. As you'll see here. That water cannon kills us in 1 shot no matter what, so that's not good. Whoop. Nope. Missed that shot a little bit, but it's okay. We get a second shot. Not that big of a deal. Gonna delay this just a little bit each time to make sure that I do not fall out of the pattern here. Oop, a little too early on that first shot there. And I can see a very continuing pattern of shooting them in the knee and then opening mouth shot. That's a very common thing we'll be doing here. And if you do not see the lock onto their heads, that means that they're about to pop on stage. Also, the camera will focus towards them as well. I'm going to be staying in this little area right here, just kind of keep them to the same pattern, as you'll see. Everyone was about to come on stage. I'm going to want to grab some ammo, like this right here. I'm going to kill them off stage, and then I'm going to use that ammo that I just got to fire at that ray, specifically. And it's kind of looping back and forth here. As you can see, it's just the same pattern. Ideally, I keep on doing this the entire time, but as the fight goes on, they kind of get disjointed to where it won't be the exact same, and then things get tougher, and as you can see, some of them start to run away like this. Now, as I close Mouth Shop, it's not a big of a deal. Again, try to kill this one off stage. We are successful. And then... Nice, look at that shot. Very good. Did kill him fast enough, so this one's gonna be popping on stage now. Whoa. That guy's playing hard to get. So unfortunately fell out of the loop a little bit here, but we can improvise a little bit here and be okay. Here comes this guy. So yeah, ideally this guy would not be this far away. It's my bad. Oh. So again, chance of like dying here isn't too bad. It is bad enough to where I'm afraid, but as you see, the fight is getting a little out of hand, but I'm trying to get back on track here. And raised inside of each other for whatever reason. This guy's about to pop on stage. Try to be a little more careful here. So I was gonna pop up on stage now, so... Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, that was a little close. Again, that's why you do not want them to be coming up on stage like that, because they could be stomping around and they could accidentally kill you. We are reaching the end of the fight. Whoops. One more. And that is the Ray fight. No deaths. Kind of got off the rails a little bit. And now, torture sequence, 55 seconds. I have to press triangle at least 9 times a second, and there will be a spare save in case this does fail, because doing this more than once can actually damage your, like, arm, so I'm not going to do it more than once, but I am fairly consistent at actually getting this, so let's see if I can get it here. And the idea is that you want to be mashing not too fast, because I mash too fast sometimes and I tire myself. I mash just enough. Find that sweet spot where 9 times a second is and kind of stay around there. And there we go.
What do you hope to hear? You know he doesn't know anything.
It's not him I want the
That's another big
answers
change from the Sons of Liberty versions to HD Collections. That they actually changed that to 15 seconds, which I believe is what it should be at, because doing it like that is a bit ridiculous in my opinion. So not everyone can actually do that. It's not something that's very healthy. You know, mashing just overall will lead to muscle and like hand problems, so. And like for me personally, I had to switch to a DualShock 1. Like I'm using a PS1 controller because there's no pressure sensitivity, because on the DS2 it wouldn't count my full presses whenever I was mashing because of my mashing technique. So a bit unfortunate that, you know, they didn't have it at 15 at the start. It's a bit silly in my opinion, and that's whatever. And now we have all of these very interesting code of conversations. You guys should actually check it out if you haven't already. Just the actual context of what they're talking about is pretty interesting, even if you haven't even played the game before. Now for the Solidus fight, going to be doing 2 cycles, 15 and then 14. So I'm going to be counting here on my cycles that I do on him. And just to make sure that the fight goes very cleanly. 1. Whoops. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. 13. 14. 15. Unless I counted incorrectly, that should be enough. It is. You'll notice that I was canceling the like upcoming attack animation, and that's why I'm able to just kind of loop him like that. And I'm actually trying to go to his blind side with his eye patch. That's the best attack you can give us. That is random, but that is the best one. People's elbow. Whoops. 2. Aw, dang. Got kicked. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. 13. 14. And that is time at 1:24 on the dot. Just wanted to remind everyone that this is a very, like, best case scenario type run. I only had 1 alert and everything went pretty well, so the reason why the estimate is so high is because if I die, for example, during the Ray fight, I have to start back over. If I die deep in, that's like, you know, multiple minutes of time lost. So I just wanted to reiterate that, and thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
That's it.